I'm Nick Terzo, and you are listening to The Radical. My guest this week is proudly carrying on his family's musical legacy. He's about to release his third full-length album, and his new current single, Give Me All You Got, was just dropped. Musician Dez Money joins me to discuss his creative process, his mastering of all the creative roles in making music, and carving out your own voice when your father was one of rock and roll's legendary singers and performers. Coming up, my conversation with Dez Money. We'll just kind of get into it here. You have a new single out called Give Me All You Got. And it's interesting because I went back and listened to like your earlier work and stuff. And this was really like I feel like you found your spot with this.
Yeah.
It felt like such a great progression.
Thank you.
To watch the progression and see you get here. It's like, wow.
Yeah, with Give Me All You Got, I had a lot of fun making it. With each song, I try to kind of create its own world and everything. And with this one, I was definitely going for this kind of 80s pop kind of dream vibe. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, and it surprises you because in the first time I listened, I kind of let it go. And I said, oh, this is okay. And then I came back to it a few times and it was like, holy cow, I can't stop playing this now. So.
Well, that means a lot. Thank you so much. I'm glad it grew on you.
That piano part you have in there, that hook with the keys that's a killer, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that was something that I just kind of thought of. It's a very simple melody and it's kind of the same thing with the song. The song's kind of very simple, but each instrument kind of plays its role. And that was my goal and to just make sure everything kind of stayed kind of pretty simple, but it was nice and very concise, and yeah, I enjoyed doing it.
That's awesome. And you have your siblings involved? I mean, do you play everything on this record or how does it work?
Yeah, I play everything on the record. And then when we play live, I show it to the band and then we recreate it for the live setting and everything like that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So is this part? So there's a record coming, and there's a new full record coming.
Yeah. I've been kind of teasing, single by single, and I'm still, working on a release date and everything like that. But the whole record's already finished, and yeah, I'm really excited to share it with everybody.
Yeah. Does that sneaking out the tracks? Does that give you satisfaction in a way? Do you kind of get more instant gratification, or at least a indication from people how they react? Is that better than waiting?
Yeah, I really like doing single by single. I used to kind of be all about just the whole album format, and I still am. I still have everything on this upcoming album. It really has a flow to it, and it's very, cohesive. But I also wanted it so that each song could stand on its own as well and have its own world. And that's why every song that I've shared so far on the upcoming album, it has its own kind of genre going on. And, each one has its own thing going on. So I'm having a lot of fun, just doing it individually and shining a lot light on each song and everything like that. It's been a lot of fun doing it that way.
That's awesome. I mean, you're pretty much a multi-instrumentalist, right? You're kind of full on the real deal. So
yeah, I try to do as much as I can with the music, and I'm always trying to learn new things to help with my career, and I try to be as hands-on as possible. So, yeah.
And do you produce too, Dez?
Yeah, I produce the music and I write all the songs, and so, yeah, everything, it's all me. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Thank you.
So, impressive for sure. And on the video here, you have your siblings in the video, which is nice to see you guys all together.
Yeah. My sister, she's assistant director on all of my videos, my last 3 or 4 videos, and so I've been directing and editing my music videos as well. And I have my little brother on the drums, Julian, who we grew up playing drums together. We were always, in the garage doing drum battles and stuff like that. So I found it very fitting to just, include him in the band. And he's just such a great drummer. So it's always just a great time performing with the family.
That's awesome. Is all those dollar bills on the wall? Is that an actual room? Is that real money?
Yeah, that's like a room. That's kind of a prop set. It's we found it on this on the site that kind of got my ideas going once I saw that room, and I figured it was very fitting to the song and the family name and everything like that. So yeah, we thought it was perfect for the video. And
So it's actually a physical presence. You found like there's this physical room
yeah,
like that, or
yeah.
you bring the set to you.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a warehouse full of like little spaces to film, and that's one of the spaces. And so, yeah, it was really cool. We just had like a bucket full of that. It was movie money, so it was prop money. So we had a lot of fun with it.
That's too bad. Too bad it's prop money.
Yeah.
So this will be like your third full outing as far as an album.
Yeah, it will be, and I'm not sure exactly when we're going to release it. Maybe the end of the year, maybe the beginning of next year. But we're still feeling out a release date. But it's all finished and it's ready to go. So
that's awesome. And do you feel like, I mean, since I'm an outsider as a third party and kind of sensed this really growth in you and kind of finding really what fits for you, how do you feel like as you get into this third record versus your, kind of first and second project?
I feel like I'm still kind of exploring new things, and, I'm still very wide-eyed and, trying to just learn as much as I can about different types of music and stuff like that, and trying to mix it up, trying to take some things from the alternative world and mix it with the electronic world, and, just seeing if I can make something new that I haven't made before. And that's something that's just most exciting for me as a producer, is just to try new things and just to try to learn as a human and as a producer and everything like that. So yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah. And will you try to take a song like that to like the old way of going to like radio, or do you just kind of do it all online and that's how it is now?
We're doing a little radio here and there, but yeah, just everything I'm doing independently right now. So yeah, I'm just kind of working at it the best I can and promoting it the best I can right now.
Yeah. So do you feel, I mean, obviously you've got some good DNA in you. I guess we just came up on, was it the 2-year anniversary of your dad passing, right? Who was a gentleman and so talented. And
thank you.
As I was telling you earlier, I remember when I was a young A&R guy, just in my 20s at Columbia Records, and you'd ride the elevator, Lemmy would be in it, and, Ozzy Osbourne. But I could always remember, like, one of the first impacts is like when your dad came into the A&R department, and it was like, oh my God, that's, I was this dumb little A&R kid, kind of into hard rock music and the grunge scene. And it was just, but your dad came in and it was like a whole, like, wow, I'm really in the music business. That's Eddie Money.
That's awesome. I love that.
And he was the nice, you live with him. He was the sweetest guy. So
yeah, he loved doing radio and everything like that. And I've heard great stories about how he would just like bring pizza and they wouldn't expect it. And he's always just kind of all about having fun and hanging out and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. So having those, like, the last few years with your dad where you've been able to go out and tour, I mean, touring's hard, and picking up how to be good at entertaining and being a performer is really hard because it's become a little bit of a lost art form. Mm-hmm. I imagine you absorbed a lot of that, kind of being on that stage with him on how this works.
Yeah.
I'd be curious what you took away from it.
Yeah, I feel like these days a lot of times people go viral and then they'll go on tour. They'll get famous before they even ever play their first show, which for me, I did it completely in reverse. And I was in the studio for a long time, and I had made my whole first record, and I didn't show my dad until, some of the songs had been ready. He had no idea I sang or anything like that. And as soon as he found out, he's like, he wanted to get me on tour and everything like that. So I was very lucky to have learned from him, because at first I was coming from a studio standpoint where it was, everything's a lot different in the studio. And so, there's no crowd involved and everything like that. He taught me how to get the crowd interacted and everything like that. So yeah, it was definitely a learning curve for sure. But I'm really happy that I had such a great teacher.
Yeah. I mean, did you actually watch how he kind of built the set list and all that?
Yeah, well, his set list would always change. And so even if he would write it out as a guitar player, I had 2 or 3 guitars on tour with him, because we'd be switching tunings and stuff like that. And he would always change the songs. And so I'd be kind of like always really just making sure I'm paying attention to what's going on, because I could be on the wrong guitar, and then that wouldn't be good. But he kept me on my feet and everything for sure. And yeah, that was great. Yeah.
How many years were you able to do that with him?
I think I was on tour with him for about 4 years. Yeah. 4 to 5 years. Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so special, and I'm happy you guys got to have
Thank you.
that.
Yeah, I remember
that time.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be on tour with him. One of my first memories was learning drums from his drummer Johnny Snyder, and then I remember just after my first couple of lessons, I was on tour with my dad, and I was wanting to be his drummer instead of Johnny. I was like, when can I fill in for Johnny? And he's like, you're too young, wait until you get more experience and you go to school and stuff like that. So once I graduated school, I got back out there, and it was a great experience with my dad to be able to tour with him.
That's awesome. And you guys also had for like a couple of years, did you do the reality show? Was it Real Money?
Yeah.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah. Real Money was great. It took a lot of getting used to, because I'm kind of a personal kind of guy, and I try to keep everything to myself, but my dad was all about it. And so it took a while to find a network that really understood our vision, but I'm really happy we went with Access Television, and Mark Cuban really understood what we were going for. And they didn't try to fabricate anything. They understood that, we were just kind of a very creative family, and so they were there for us, and it was great. We actually really enjoyed doing the show. So I'm happy about it when I watched the episodes and everything like that.
That's awesome. How many seasons were you able to do?
We did a couple. We just did 2 seasons. And then, afterwards, I think they sold the network right after my dad passed away. So, everything.
That's right.
But we're really happy that while we had the time to do it with Access, it was a great time.
Well, and I'm really curious because you seem very committed to this as kind of like you're taking on all the responsibilities yourself. It's a very solitary pursuit that you're doing. With your music. And I'm wondering, some of that, your dad always came off as kind of a blue collar working class, had those ethics about it. And
definitely,
if that's been kind of somewhat passed on to you. So.
Yeah, definitely. I always saw how hard my dad worked, and he was always on tour and stuff like that. So I had that same energy, but I put it in different places, and so I always had the knack for it, and I always wanted to learn new things. So I'm really lucky to have not only my dad as a teacher, but also the engineers along the way that have taught me the tips and tricks and stuff like that. Like Chris O'Dowdgy, for example, has taught me so much. And his assistant, Brian, he's always given me tips and stuff like that. So that stuff is very invaluable to me. And, I'm always just learning every day and how to make songs and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's definitely great path.
You definitely had a Harvard education in music, starting as a young kid by the exposure you were able to have. So,
definitely.
Look, and those are some of the positives of all this. I mean, what are the hard parts of kind of having to go into the family business and kind of being, everyone's going to think I'm just this kid and I'm not talented and I'm just riding his coattails in some way. Yeah. How do you balance the good with the bad?
For me, I can only control what I can control. As far as other people's opinions, there's always going to be people out there that have that opinion, which is completely cool with me because, I grew up with it. And so at this point, I'm like immune to that. Because, at this point, it's like the only thing I can control is how hard I work. And then if I put the work in, then I'll be good. And, and music's very subjective anyway. So what one person thinks is good, another person's probably going to not like anyway. So it's all good if not everybody loves it. So it's okay.
Cool. Aside from your dad as an influence and as maybe a career model for you, who else? Is there a career out there you see that you're like, man, I'd love to have my career trajectory that way?
I kind of mix and match different ones because I grew up with a lot of 90s bands and stuff like that that I really liked. Like Radiohead was probably one of my favorite bands growing up. And I just liked how they were kind of very always unpredictable with the type of music that they would do. And, they were always just trying to mix it up and try new things and stuff like that, which is what I'm very inspired by is just trying new things as an artist and seeing what happens if you mix these kind of drums with this kind of, melody and stuff like that. And I don't know, just that's what it's all about, is just trying new things and having fun with it.
Were there others aside from Radiohead?
Yeah, no? Radiohead, Smashing Pumpkins. We grew up my parents were huge Beatles fans. So the Beatles, we always loved. Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, a lot of great artists, definitely, so. Yeah. But yeah, I try to take a little bit of each, whatever I like from each one of them, because there's so many great things from all these artists. So, yeah. What's
the thread through a record like this? So where you're kind of experimenting and trying so many different styles, I mean, look, I don't think it's as important anymore because we've decoupled
Right.
music, obviously. But I don't know. There always seems to be like maybe try to have a little bit of a theme. Is there anything
Right.
here?
For me, so that's a good point because there could be some fans that might like more of the rock stuff and some fans that might like more of the EDM stuff like that. So you got to have like a certain amount of each one of those genres so that they have like, a partner on the album. So that's not just one type of each song. So that's a good point. I try to make at least 2 or 3 of each type of genre, I guess, on the album so that it kind of still all blends and it's very cohesive. And even though they're different genres and everything, it's still in the same like realm. But yeah.
Right. Well, don't you almost with vinyl being so popular nowadays in a way, you almost have to reconsider at least how that medium kind of gets made. And, as you're mastering it and sequencing it, I mean, there's got to be a little of the old school brought back in around the vinyl part of it, I would think.
Yeah. And I can't wait to get some vinyls made. I was talking to somebody and they were telling me that for some reason right now everything's backed up with the vinyls, but I'm not sure if that's true. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I could make some vinyls soon because I'd like to get a blue vinyl for my last album, Blue, and that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Hopefully soon. But
that was an interesting record too, by the way. That song Wings on there is really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I made that song in about a day, and it's one of those songs that kind of just made itself. And it was just I was in a really good mood that day, so I'm glad the song kind of came out the way it did, and I was really happy with it.
Yeah, it's really great. So recording, you're pretty much finished up with this record. I mean, what is your touring life like now? If you were to tour post-COVID, I mean, what would that look like for you?
I think we'd like to start off with just something small, probably like a small Southern California tour, just at first to just get the blood flowing and get the band back out there. Because the first time I saw the band was maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I hadn't seen them in a while. But I was just kind of showing them the new songs, showing them "Give Me All You Got," and going over all the new songs. And there's so many new songs and everything like that. So we're just trying to put together a set list that feels right, that we can still include the older songs that people might not have heard. And we're seeing, how everything works out together, but I'd like to get back out there. That'd be really fun.
Right. I mean, were you able to get any touring done before this happened? I mean, as your own band?
Yeah, a little bit. But right before the pandemic hit, my dad had passed away pretty much right before that. So we were already kind of on this like hiatus from touring. But I can't wait to get back out there. Really looking forward to it.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned kind of the EDM influence and stuff. I mean, what is that about for you? And like, who are people in kind of that space? I mean, is that current artists in that space that are interesting, or is it kind of more of the throwback?
Yeah, I've been seeing some. So when right after my dad passed away, I was kind of going to more concerts as a fan and stuff like that, and taking a break from my own music and just trying to explore new genres and stuff like that. And so I saw a couple of artists. Or one of the bands I enjoyed was Bob Moses, and they're kind of an EDM band in a way. And then Rufus Du Sol, which is another one that's kind of like that. And I just really liked how they kind of, blended the styles of music. And it's like, watching a DJ set, but with like live instruments and everything like that. So I thought that was really cool. And they just put on a really great show. So that really inspired me when I saw them. So.
Yeah, I still try to comprehend it as a genre. You know what I mean? How it's created, and what's sampled, what's not sampled, what's original. I'm always trying to get my head around how they create what they do.
Yeah, and the formulas are different too. It's like it's not just like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse. It's like completely different. So. It's interesting to break it down. Yeah,
I used to in Colorado. I got to be around like Nick Miller a little bit from Millennium. Yeah. Before he broke, and I was just always kind of fascinated with what he was doing. I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I saw him at the new Raider Stadium when.
You did
recently? Yeah, it was awesome. That was a great show.
Yeah, he's fantastically talented.
Yeah,
so fantastically talented. So we're going to wait. Do you have a date like for when you think the whole record will be released, or that's just
still in the works?
TBD?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm releasing another single before then, or I'm not sure yet. We're still kind of working everything out.
Yeah. What's your frequency on that normally? How do you gauge like when you drop another single even?
I kind of feel it out with and I talk about it a little bit with the label on, what to do and everything like that. And we're still working on a release date and everything like that. So I might have another music video on the way as well, but we'll see.
Do you like doing those?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work for sure, and it takes definitely a lot of thought that goes into it. But yeah, I'm glad that when everything works out the way it does, it's a great time for sure.
That's awesome. And since you kind of are a one-man creative shop for your own music, other when you're touring with a band, I mean, how do you balance kind of like the expectations or the demands of kind of like the social media realm of things? When you only have so much time as an artist to be an artist.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, because lately I've been having to do a little bit more of the social media stuff. I'm usually kind of putting that on the back burner and stuff, and I usually put the creativity first, but now they have to go hand in hand, So yeah, I'm learning how to balance it out, and I still have time in the day to make music and everything like that, but I'm kind of, in the middle of doing both right now. So yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. And I always, look, I assume your family was supportive. I mean, were they clear about the obstacles of this as a career? I mean, were you just able to witness that from observation of your own dad? I mean,
yeah.
What was that like?
Well, my dad was always like letting us know how hard and we saw how hard it was, because he would be on tour every week and he was always gone. And so it was something that we learned was just, there was a lot of fun when he would perform everything, but then there's all the work that goes up, before that. And, there's the traveling that goes into it. And then there's, he's got to do the promo. He's got to do all sorts of other things that goes around it. And that's the stuff that I watched, that I learned from, like watching him do radio and stuff like that, and watching him, just the way how he worked really hard, but still had fun. I think that was what it was all about. And he was just such a great entertainer and just a great guy, really. So
he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did he start taking you guys out? Like maybe in the summers on school breaks, or like what ages did you start maybe?
Like right from
touring with him?
Yeah, there's like pictures and videos of when we were babies on stage with him, and he would just have fun, because as soon as he had the family, he was immediately a family guy, and so he was. But he learned how to balance everything, and he had the family on stage with him, but he was still rocking out, and I think the fans really loved it, so it was really cool.
That's awesome. And when you're touring, I mean, do you do more of do you do like a package thing with people, or do you kind of headline your own thing? Have you done any festivals?
I haven't lately, but like some of the other, when I was touring with my family, sometimes it would be a mixed show with me and my dad, or same thing with my sister. We would mix shows as well. So I'm hoping when we get back out there, we could do something like that, and maybe throw a couple of my dad's songs at the end of the set, just because, they're such great songs, and it would just be a tribute to like those good years on tour with him and everything like that. And we could probably play like 2 Tickets, Take Me Home Tonight, maybe a couple songs, and just, pay tribute to the great music that he had for the world.
Yeah. Are you going to do some kind of a mashup on them to make them sound different?
Yeah, maybe.
You going to EDM them?
Yeah, that could be cool. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's the thing about music. There's so many different ways to perform just one song, so you can always change it up and make it interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. So very cool. Well, listen, the new music is out, single by single here, and Give Me All You Got is a new single, and it's a video, and I'm telling you, the song will get into your bones, and you will not stop playing it. So congratulations, you figured out the formula.
Thank you so much.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you live and hearing the new music when it comes out.
Right on. Thank you so much.
So thank you for doing this, and I'm happy to see you kind of carrying on the legacy.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks, Dez. Best of luck. Stay healthy.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for listening. This show originates from the podcast capital, Austin, Texas. My producer is Sean O'Neill. Visit theradicalpod.com for updates and even some merchandise. Also, please subscribe at Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I also ask that you please share episodes with your friends so we can continue to grow our community. See you all again next Friday.